Hello. No, I'm not late. You're late. What's up, Losh? Nice of you to join. Hey, Malik. I'm glad you're here. Wing Chun. What's up, Wing Chun? Hey, Bigfoot. How are you doing? What's up, Rita? Hi, last live you were sleeping. You're happy to be here for a first reading. All right, cool. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Rude Noise. Yes, this is a new story. Hopefully it has a better ending. Yeah. What's up, Nikki? I'm glad you're here. All right, guys. Bloop, 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 bloop. I'm a little bit tired. I didn't have a good night's sleep. Okay, I was up late working on a video. Yeah, it's a sponsored video. There's a deadline. I had to make it, but I think I did. Hopefully, crossing fingers. No coffee? Well, I don't drink coffee. I drink water. But yeah, there's a new sponsor. Okay, it's a snack box sponsor, and when I signed, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna give you 6 boxes, 6 snack boxes, guys." I thought they were gonna send me all 6 snack boxes at the same time. I was like, "What am I gonna do with all these snacks?" But it looks like they're sending me 2 at a time. 2 snack boxes per month. So I'm gonna get 3 months, 6 boxes. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Can't finish it all. What's up, Casey? Any kind of caffeine? I guess I drink tea sometimes. Yeah. You'll eat them? Oh, you want me to send it to you? Does anyone want snacks? I can send it to you. I'll send you a whole box. Well, I need to film the box first for the video, and then I'll send it to you. What's up, Lady Koi? Black tea got you through a lot of 18-hour shifts. Cool. So you don't drink coffee? You just drink tea? What's up, Katie? I'm glad you're here. Can I turn on donation stickers? Oh, well, no, I can't. Remember, this channel is not monetized. Yeah, when we were on the other channel, the main channel, that it was monetized. So everything works. All the donations, all of the stickers and super chats and stuff. Yeah, for this one, nah. Nope. It's just like a chill stream channel, okay? Where I can unwind and read Wuxia. Coffee and tea, you trying to cut back? Yeah. I think I drink so much boba tea that it doesn't affect me anymore. So yeah, I can drink boba tea and go to sleep and I'm fine. Most of the time. Sometimes it'll keep me up, I think. But most of the time, it doesn't work on me anymore. You drink a ton of tea? Cool. No one's supposed to know about this channel. True. Oh, you're making Halloween costumes? What costumes are you making? Wouldn't it be cool if I made a Lynphamy costume and I'll just put on my Lynphamy face on the streams, just out of nowhere? I need to learn how to sew though. Have I tried the new strawberry Monster? You drink Monster, Nikki? Isn't that really bad for you? That's what I heard. What's up, SMR? I'm glad you're here. This is a new book. Hey, Petrie. Petri. It's all bad. Yeah, I used to drink a lot of soda. Okay, a lot of soda, especially when I was a kid. Oh my god. Yeah, my uncle and my family, they would buy this, the 2 liter bottles. Yeah, and we would just go through that so fast. But as I grew up, I just cut back, and now I can't. I don't drink it anymore, and it doesn't taste good to me anymore, I think. Yeah. But I think there's like cola. There's a soda that comes in the new snack box. I saw it. So I'm gonna have to drink that, I guess. You're making a son a Plixie costume. What's a Plixie costume? A critter from My Singing Monsters. Got it. Not even Dr. Pepper? No. No soda at all. Which is good, but then I drink boba tea, which is not good. Okay, let's do a Wordle. Then maybe a Semental if I feel like it. A little bit tired. I think I'm gonna, after this stream, I'm just gonna go to sleep. Do. All right, hold on. Okay. Motorcycle. Is that a motorcycle? I think it is. Oh. All right, this one should work. The first one always fails. Okay, motorcycle. All right. Array. Okay. Stomp. Okay. Roids. Okay. Ronin. Roomba. Roost. No. Rule. Root. Rouge. Roof. Rough. Nope. Roll. Oh shit. Oh no, this is not good. Roll. Rock. Rocky. Oh my god, how did I guess that? Okay. What if I sing in my sleep? Last half of the stream, I fall asleep in my chair. Yeah, would you guys watch that? You know those people, those big streamers, like, they do the sleeping streams? Yeah, I wonder what kind of people, like, who watches those things? What do people do? Do you just watch the person sleep? Or do you just, I guess they have it in the background while they snore or something? While they do other stuff, I guess? Okay. You know what? Let's do a Semental. Why not? Gonna need your help though. Get my brain working. Puzzle. Number. Plane. Okay, okay. Sky. Air. Fly. Swim. Train. Fight. Huh! Match. Competition. Athlete. No. Gun. Sword. Attack. Brawl. Beat. Punch. Balls. No. Grapple. War. Battle. Gunfight. Argument. Marriage. Sleep. Oh, pretty high, pretty high. Fight. Divorce. Nope. Custody. Oh my god. Wait. Custody. Children. Jail. Imprison. We had battle, right? Like custody battle. Adoption. Foster. Custody. Criminal. Okay. Criminal. Law. Like police. Oh! Officer. Judge. Court. Case. Lawyer. Police guard. Rules. Police. Criminal. Attorney. Shooting. Police fight. Hostage. I think I tried prison, right? Oh, maybe not. Custody, police. Emergency. Okay. Nurse. Oh, solitary. Order. Arrest. Protest. Who do you arrest? A criminal. Execution. Handcuffs. Handcuff. Handcuffs, please. Arrest. Sentence. Sentence is good. Nope. Arrest. Oof, so close. What is it? What is it? Snitch. Mafia. We had criminal. Robbery. Robber. Thief. Steal. Murder. Apprehend. Oh my god. Oh. Charges. Suspect. Stop. Catch. No. Suspect. A suspect. Bail. Capture. Detain. Detention. Detain the suspect. The crime scene. Crime. Investigation. Investigate. Sentence. I think we did sentence. Yeah. Oh, suspect. Detain. Alibi. Accomplice. Ooh, so close. Charges. I think we tried that one. Do we try charge? No. Suspect. He acted alone, yes. There were no accomplices. Getaway. Perpetrator. Oh, that was good. How do you perpetrator? Bystander, maybe? No. The suspect. The criminal. Yes, this suspect. It's a crime scene. Guilty. Nope. I think we tried inmate. Yeah. Oh no, we didn't. Innocent. Nah, this guy is totally guilty. Associate. No. Suspect. Suspicious? Oh. No. Whoever this guy is, he definitely did it. Convict. What's up, Sal? I'm glad you made it. Arrest, suspect. Detain, apprehend. It's a verb, right? Maybe. Escape. That's good. Suspect. Break. Robbery. Suspect. Undercover. Undercover. Cop. Arsonist. Cover. Agent. Double agent. All these two words. Spy. Undercover. Spy. Agent. What else is there? Stakeout? Oh my god. Stakeout. Mole? Oh my god. We're so close. Secret? Like a deadly secret? Sting operation. No. Undercover operation. Operative. Why is my cursor just like keeps going out of this screen? Operator. Spy. Undercover. Disguise. Oh, we're so close. We're so close. Bribery? Bribe? We try to investigate. Yeah, investigation. Suspect. Stakeout. Undercover. Infiltrate. Underworld. Criminal. Let me try that. Detective. Nope. Deception. Why? It's so close. Undercover, 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 undercover. Sleeper, like a sleeper agent? No. Oh my god, undercover. Hidden? Wait. Oh, running out. Bed. Running out of words. Undercover. Disguise. Fake. Wire. Oh, like informant? Okay, close. Illegal? Traitor. Snitch. Rat. Stitches. Snitches get stitches. Undercover. Yeah, we tried rat. Hidden. Incognito. Oh, that's good. Oh no. Yeah, I think we're running out of steam. We need to bust out the thesaurus, guys. Undercover. Suspect. Turned. Oh. Fed. Like a federal. Hmm. Semantical. Yeah. Well, maybe if we guess the actual word, it'll all make sense. Because sometimes I think like these words, like some words won't make sense, but then if you find the final word, you'll be like, oh, okay. And then sometimes that doesn't happen. So I don't know. Underground? Like the criminal underground? Suspect undercover. Boss? What do you call a mafia boss? Espionage. Oh. We had spy. Corporate. Dawn? No. Dawn. That's good though. Damn you guys. Everyone got that. Kingpin. Nope. Undercover. Okay, maybe there's like a cop that's undercover. Something about that. Stakeout. Suspect. Okay. What do cops do when they're undercover? Or they're tailing a suspect. Okay. Tail. Mask. Rat, we had that. Approach. Oh, I feel like we're so close. Sting, we tried Sting. You think it's on the law side here? Stakeout, we had stakeout. I think we tried lawyer already. Oh my god! Undercover. Information. That doesn't make sense. We had informant. Gathering. Infiltrate. Did we try that? Yeah, we had that. Tried it. Straws. Surveillance. Oh, okay. Surveillance. Oh my god. Good job. Bigfoot. Good job. Surveillance. Let's see if surveillance makes sense. Undercover, suspect, stakeout, detain, apprehend, arrest, spy. Police, investigation, informant. All right, good job. Oh, you know what I forgot? A snack. Hold on. I have like a million snacks in my house. I'll be right back. All right. This looks cool. Oh, wait, hold on. This is cool. Mmm. Looks like some kind of matcha cookie kind of thing. With like milk inside or something. Let's see. Da-da-da. Wheat flour, shortening, sugar, margarine, chocolate, green tea. Yeah, green tea flavor. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, of course, comes in individual packages. That's fine. Okay. It's green tea cookies with I think with green tea cream inside or something. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. Has cream in the middle. Mmm. Hmm. Actually, not crunchy. It's pretty soft. Not too sugary. Yep, a lot of matcha flavor. Hmm. 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 Oh. I can't talk. Hmm. Hmm. Not bad. I'm into it. Yeah, very green tea flavor. And not too sweet. I like it. I'm gonna give it probably an 8. Solid 8. Maybe 7.8. Let's do a 7.8. I'm not that big of a fan of sweets. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, making you want Asian snacks? Why can't you afford them? I'm hoarding snacks. I have so many snacks. Yeah, because of the sponsor. I got a new sponsor and they just sent me a bunch of snacks. That I don't know what to do with. The real one looks better than the pic on the box. Yeah. You never had matcha before. Best form to have it in. Matcha ice cream. But if you want legitimate matcha, you have it with tea. It's not bad with tea. I'm not sure No, I think I still like black tea or green tea better. Matcha tea has too much of I don't know, like a grassy flavor. And it gives me PTSD to my childhood when my dad made me drink wheatgrass juice. Oh God, the worst. Not a big fan of sweets, and I have a pantry full of them. Matcha is a type of green tea? True. All right. Matcha tastes very healthy. Is that a synonym for bad? Okay. So, what? Let's get started, okay? No, hey, no recap today. So the story today is called... Wait, hold on. A Deadly Secret. All right. Here's the thing. I have no idea what it's about. I'm going in blind. But someone told me that it's a good story, okay? And it's a short one, only 12 chapters. Now I'm going to start reading the chapters. I'm not sure if we're going to do half a chapter each episode or a full chapter, okay? I'm just going to keep reading and see where it takes us. Recap the entire last story. Yeah. All right. So it's short and sweet, just like me. We can do it. Yeah. So I think it's translated by one person. So hit or miss, guys. All right. If this one guy is a good translator, we're golden. If he's a bad one, then, well, it'll be interesting. You're still 30 chapters behind on demigods and semi-devils. Well, yeah, it gets really good towards the end. All right. Are you all ready? Hey, look, it has pictures. I think each chapter has a picture. We got a little ox here. Yeah, a little girl. And a guy with a Q. Okay. You can kind of tell which period of China it's in by the hairstyle. This Q is, I believe, in the Qing dynasty. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and I know. Yeah, I know. I know it's from the Qing dynasty because I looked it up before the stream. We got this guy. We got some mountains. We got some trees. We got a little path. All right. It says, I won't let go. If you sell it to someone else, they will kill him and eat him. I can't bear it. Oh, okay. Oh, this is the original art from the story. Cool. Are you guys ready? Chapter 1. The countrymen enter the city. To, 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 to. Two wooden swords clashed with intense force, emitting rattling sounds. Sometimes there were intermissions between collisions, while other times the swords collided quite fiercely. This was the village of Ma Si, located in the Yuanling province in western Hunan. On the field outside a 3-room cottage, a young man and woman were practicing their sword skills. In front of the cottage, an old man was sitting on a small stool, biting on a very thin tobacco pipe, while weaving straw sandals with his hands. Occasionally, he would look up at the young pair fighting and give a faint smile of acknowledgement. The sunlight illuminated the pale gray smoke exhaled from his mouth. The old man had a head full of white hair. His face was quite wrinkled, but whenever he exhaled a breath of smoke, his eyes would be filled with energy. In fact, he wasn't really that old, no more than 50 years of age. The chapter start sound was perfect. True. True, it fits exactly. The girl was about 17 or 18 years old. She had a round face and big black eyes. When she felt tired and sweat filled her forehead, there would be a streak of sweat streaming down on her left cheek and flowing down her neck. She would wipe off the sweat with her left sleeve. Her cheeks were red like a string of red peppers hung under the eaves of a cottage. The young man she was sparring with was about 2 or 3 years older than her. His face was long and dark, his cheekbone was high, and he had rough hands and big feet. Although he was a typical peasant in the countryside, the wooden sword in his hand was handled quite dexterously. Suddenly, the young man slashed downwards from the left, retreated slightly, and unleashed a direct strike with his sword. The young girl avoided the attack by lowering her head, but the sword kept thrusting at her with strong and rapid momentum. The young man backed off 2 steps and swung the wooden sword out, and then, with a loud cry, swept the sword horizontally 3 times. The girl had kept her opponent in check until now, but at this point she withdrew her sword and stood still, defenseless. "I guess you're good, okay?" she scorned. "Just kill me." The young man had not anticipated that she would suddenly retract her sword without defending, so his third strike nearly cut her waist. He tried to relinquish his attack at once, but the force of the strike was already emanated, and with a loud clap, the sword hit himself on the back of his left hand, and he let out a slight cry of pain. Something like, the girl applauded and laughed. "Aren't you ashamed? If that was a real sword, do you think your hand would still be intact?" There were traces of redness on the man's dark face. He replied, I was afraid I would cut you. Otherwise, I would not have hurt myself. In a real fight, do you think I would go really easy on you like that? Or I would really go easy on you like that? Teacher, why don't you be the judge? As he said his last word, he looked over to the old man. The old man was still holding a half-finished straw sandal, but now stood up and said, "The 2 of you have fought well for about 50 stances or so, but the later stances were executed poorly." From the girl's hand, he grabbed the wooden sword, positioned himself in a fighting stance, and continued. "This technique, Brother Wang shouts up, followed by the technique dare not cross the horizontal, should be executed horizontally, not straight. Afeng, in regards to your 2 techniques, the wind suddenly blows and the mountain escapes like a cloth. The image of your sword should look like a bolt of cloth running away. Ayun's 2 techniques, falling mud welcomes big sister, and the horse blows a little wind, were executed decently, but the latter technique is called a little wind, and you put too much strength into your strike. This swordplay has a famous name in the martial world. It is called the reclining corpse swordplay. With every stance, the essence is to make your opponent recline like a dead body. Since we are only sparring in good spirit, there is no need to be so serious, but the reclining corpse part of the name must be remembered to heart." "Father, our swordplay is very good, but the name of the swordplay isn't very good," the young girl remarked. "Reclining corpse swordplay sounds scary." The old man replied, "You can say that it is scary, but it is also equally impressive. Before the battle even begins, your opponent is already struck with fear." He was still holding the wooden sword, and demonstrated those 6 techniques to the young pair. His sword movements appeared quite heavy, yet regressed slightly at the same time. It was actually very deadly and powerful. The young man and woman admitted their inferiority and applauded. The old man then gave the sword to the girl and said, The two of you should keep practicing these stances. Afang, don't always think about fooling around. If your elder martial brother did not go easy on you, do you think he would still be alive? Horse blows a little wind. Yeah, I like that. The girl stuck out her tongue, and suddenly struck with her sword in rapid speed. The young man was caught off guard and immediately tried to defend with his own sword, but the young girl got the initiative of striking first and continued attacking in a continuous motion. The young man could find no way of counterattacking. Suddenly, the sounds of horseshoes were heard, approaching from the northeast direction. A horse made its way to the cottage. The young man turned around and said, "Who could that be?" The girl retorted, "You lost. Don't make up excuses. What does it matter to you who is coming?" And with another 3 continuous strikes, the girl attacked while the young man tried hard to defend. Stroke out, yeah. I was like, wait, she had a stroke. The young man became annoyed and said, "Just take it that I'm afraid of you, okay?" The young girl smiled. "You say that you aren't afraid, but you really are." She executed a stance with a stroke on the left and a stroke on the right. Both techniques were quite dexterous. At that time, the rider had already reined his horse and shouted, "The sky flowers fall endlessly. The birds fly everywhere. Excellent." The young girl let out an interjection of surprise and jumped backwards to face the rider. She saw that the man was about 23 to 24 years of age and dressed in elegant attire, most likely a man from a rich family from the city. She could not help but blush a bit. She spoke softly. "Father, how does he know?" The old man heard the equestrian speak out the name of his daughter's 2 techniques she had just executed and felt surprised as well. At this moment, the equestrian wished to consult with them, so he got off his horse and said, "If I may ask this elder, in Masi there is a renowned swordsman by the name of Iron Lock across the river, Qi Chang Fa. Do you know where he lives?" "I am Qi Chang Fa," the old man replied. "The title of renowned swordsman I do not dare to receive. May I ask why you are looking for me?" The young man kowtowed and said, "Your junior, Bu Yuan, greets Uncle Qi. I come on behalf of my teacher to visit you." "No need for such salutations," Qi Changfa replied. He helped the young man up with his hands. A strong energy was felt when they made contact. Bu Yuan felt a slight numbness on half of his body, and his face flushed red. "Uncle Qi must be testing Junior," Bu Yuan remarked. "Our first meeting, and I have already been embarrassed." Qi Changfa smiled and replied, "Your internal energy is a bit lower than that of my students. Which disciple of Brother Wen are you?" Bu Yuan's face flushed red again and answered, "Junior is teacher's 5th unsuccessful student. Teacher often mentions that Uncle Qi's internal energy is profound. How else would you be able to provoke Junior so easily?" You think we should replace teacher with master, Losh? Teacher sounds weird in this context. Okay. Qi Zhangfa laughed heartily and asked, "How is Brother Wan doing? We old brothers have not seen each other in over 10 years. "Thanks to Elder's fortune, my master is well. Those 2 martial siblings, are they Elder's disciples? Their sword techniques are profound." Qi Zhangfa made a hand gesture and said, "Ayun, Afang, come see your brother Bu. This is my disciple, Di Yun, and this is my daughter, Afang." "Oh, countrywoman, there is nothing to be shy of. We are of the same family." Qi Feng hid behind Di Yun and gave a faint smile. Di Yun asked, Brother Bu, are your sword techniques from the same school as ours? Otherwise, how could you identify my martial sister's technique with just one glance? Qi Zhengfa spat out some phlegm and remarked, "Pfuh. Your master and his master are from the same clan. Of course we would be learning the same sword techniques. Is there any reason to ask?" Bu Yuan lifted the cloth next to the saddle and produced a bag. He presented it with both hands and said, "Uncle Qi, teacher said this is a small gift. Please accept it." Qi Zhengfa expressed his thanks and told his daughter to put it away. Qi Feng brought it inside the room and opened the bag. Inside it was a gown made of a brocade of sheep fur, a gem wrist bracelet, a felt hat, and a black coat. Qi Feng took it out, laughed, and said, "Father, you have never worn such beautiful clothing. If you wear this, how would you look like a countryman? People will think you became a rich government official." Qi Zhengfa gave a glance at it and could not help but chuckle. After a moment, he timidly said, "Brother One, this this is really..." Di Yun went to the front of the village to fetch these 3 caddies of white wine, while Qi Feng went to slaughter a chicken. Wait, so if I click this, I can click back. 1 caddy is 500 grams. She placed it in the middle amongst some Chinese cabbage and other vegetables, all together in a pot. There was also another big bowl of red pepper in the fluid. The 4 of them were sitting together at the dining table. You want me to clip my laugh? Qi Zhengfa asked for the reason for the visit, and Bu Yuan replied, "Teacher said he hasn't seen Uncle Qi in over 10 years and misses him dearly. He thought of visiting Henan personally, but because teacher is busy practicing the Liancheng swordplay every day, he could not find any leisure time." Qi Zhengfa put the bowl of wine beside him and suddenly spat out the mouthful of wine he just downed. "What? Your teacher is practicing the Liancheng swordplay?" he quickly asked. Bu Yuan's expression was complacent. "On the 5th of the last month, teacher has already completed his training of the Liancheng swordplay." Qi Zhengfa felt even colder. All of a sudden, he slammed the bowl of wine on the table. More than half the bowl of wine spilt out as a result, causing his clothes and the table to be flooded with wine. He sat motionless for a while, and then suddenly burst into laughter. He tapped his hand on Bu Yuan's shoulder and said, "Damn that brat! Your master has always been known to exaggerate such things. Even your grandmaster could not complete the Liancheng swordplay. Your master's lies aren't very well thought out. Don't deceive your uncle anymore. Let us drink." And with that, he finished off the remaining half of his wine, while he grabbed the hot red pepper with his left hand and chewed on it. What a waste, true. Bu Yuan's face showed no hint of laughter. Instead, he continued, "Master knew that Uncle Qi would not believe him. On the 16th of the next month, it is Master's 50th birthday. May Uncle Qi bring his disciples with him to Qingzhou for some wine. Master specifically told Junior to come visit to request Uncle to come at any cost. Master said that there are some spots in the Liancheng swordplay that he has not yet perfected and would like to discuss with Uncle. Master has always said that Uncle's sword techniques were profound. If my martial brothers and I could receive some advice from Uncle, we would definitely show significant progress." "Has your second uncle, Yan Da Ping, already been invited?" asked Qi Zhangfa. Bu Yuan replied, second uncle Ya Danping wanders around leisurely. Master has already sent second brother, third brother, and fourth brother to search around Henan, Jiangnan, and Yungui, but we have not found him yet. Does Uncle Qi know the whereabouts of second uncle? Qi Zhangfa sighed and said, among us 3 martial brothers, second brother has the most powerful martial arts. If he practiced the Liancheng swordplay, I may believe that he could master it. But your master? No way. Damn. The Chinese title of this book is Liancheng Code. So it's related to the Liancheng sword stance. Okay. With his left hand, he grabbed the wine jug, filled his bowl with wine, and declared loudly, all right, on the 16th of next month, we will go to Qingzhou to celebrate your master's birthday, as well as see how well he has practiced his Liancheng swordplay. He slammed the bowl of wine on the table again, and half the bowl of wine spilt out over the table and onto his shirt. Father, if you sold our cattle Da Huang, how can we farm next year? Asked Qi Feng. We will not worry about next year we will worry about next year when next year comes. Why worry so much now? Replied Qi Zhangfa. Father, isn't it better if we stay here? What's the point of going to Qingzhou? Even if it is Uncle Wan's birthday, we shouldn't sell off Da Huang. Oh no, oh. I promised Bu Yuan that I would go, so I must not go back on my word. Besides, I can bring you and Ah Yun to a bigger place, so you don't stay in a rustic bumpkin your entire life. What's wrong with being a bumpkin? I don't want to see the outside world. I have raised Da Huang since I was little. I gave him grass to eat and brought him back home. Father, can't you see that Da Huang is in tears? He doesn't want to go. Silly girl, that cow is a beast. What does it know? Let go of it. I won't let go. If you sell it to someone else, they will kill him and eat him. I can't bear it. They won't kill him. They will only have him do farming. Yesterday, what did you say? You said you will definitely sell Da Huang to be killed. You lied to me. Da Huang is in tears. Da Huang, I won't let you go. Brother Yun, come quickly. Father wants to sell Da Huang. Ah Feng, your father doesn't want to sell Da Huang either, but how can we go to Uncle Wan's with empty hands? Reasoned Di Yun. Besides, our clothes are dirty and ruined. We should get new clothes, so people don't think lowly of us. Didn't Uncle Wan give you a new hat? Asked Qi Feng. When you wear it, it gives you off an aura of greatness. Ah, the weather is so warm. How can I wear this sheep's gown? Replied Qi Zhangfa. Besides, your uncle claims to have completed the Liancheng swordplay, and I don't believe him. I must see it for myself. Good child, please, let go. Let go, Qi Feng said. Da Huang, if they want to kill you, then use your force to attack them and run back to us. Or not, they would chase after you, and then you should run as far as you can, up to the mountains. No. No. Da Huang's gonna die, right? Do we do a preliminary bell toll? Maybe not. Maybe he'll survive. We don't know. Maybe he'll totally survive. What if, like, at the end of the story, he comes back? Is that too positive? Half a month later, Qi Zhangfa brought his disciple Di Yun and his daughter Qi Feng to Qingzhou. The three of them wore new attire. It was their first time entering a big city, so it was a bit overwhelming and caused some anxiety. They could not help but feel a bit helpless as they searched for the 5-cloud hand Wan Chun Shan's whereabouts. He might be the main character. Damn, true. He comes back and he learns the Lian Cheng swordplay. They heard people say, "The whereabouts of old hero Wan's residence? Is there really a need to ask? It must be wherever the biggest house is." As Di Yun and Qi Feng approached the Wan family's residence, they saw the high walls and red lacquered doors at the entrance. There were colorful lamps hung on the doors, showing the prestige of the family. Qi Feng held closely to her father. Qi Jiangfa was about to speak for entrance when Bu Yuan came out the front door. Qi Jiangfa was delighted and said, "Worthy nephew, I have come." Bu Yuan quickly approached and said with joy, "Uncle Qi has arrived. Brother Di, Sister Qi, how have you been?" Master was just thinking of uncle, always saying, "Why hasn't Brother Qi arrived yet? Let us go inside." As Qi Jiangfa and the other three entered through the front gate, they were greeted by the sounds of drummers playing a happy tune. The flutes played unexpectedly, giving Di Yun a shock. In the main hall, a burly old man could be seen greeting various guests. Qi Jiangfa called out, "Brother, I have come." The old man turned around and looked as if he could not recognize him. The man felt a little stunned, but then a smile ran across his face. He laughed and said, "Hold, third, you really have aged. I could barely recognize you." The two brothers were about to hold hands and reminisce on old times, when suddenly a strange aroma filled the room, followed by the sound of a smashing gong. A voice was heard. "Wan Zhenshan, 10 years ago you owed me some money. Today, will you pay up?" Qi Jiangfa turned to look at the speaker. A person was carrying a wooden bucket filled with dirty toilet water with both hands. The person splashed the bucket at Wan Zhenshan and himself. Qi Jiangfa saw that his daughter and disciple were standing on the side. He knew he could dodge the splash himself, but it would definitely land on the daughter. With some quick thinking, he came up with an idea. He grabbed his gown with both hands and unrobed. The dirty toilet water splattered all over his robe. With his precious robe ruined, he conveniently threw the gown at the assailant. The person parried the toilet bucket to the side, causing both the robe and bucket to fall on the ground. A putrid smell filled the air. Qi Jiangfa saw that the person had a long beard and a monstrous appearance and stood with confidence. The assailant laughed and said, "Ha ha 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 ha! Wan Zhenshan, our brothers come from thousands of leagues away to celebrate. Although we are missing some gifts, we instead bring you 10,000 taels of gold. Wish you all the best." 1 li is 500 meters. Yeah, I'd rather have wine all over the place than toilet water. The 8 disciples of Wan Zhenshan saw that this person was here to cause trouble, and even dirtied one of the lamps in the room. In a fit of rage, the 8 of them ganged up on this man, about to beat him half to death, when Wan Zhenshan ordered, "Don't move!" The 8 disciples remained still. His second disciple, Zhou Qi, yelled, "Bastard! Who do you think you are? Today is old Wan's birthday, yet you have the audacity to mess around. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't realize the power of the Wan family." Wan Zhenshan recognized the background of the bearded man and said, "And I was wondering who it could be. It is none other than Taihang Mountains' leader, Lu. In the past few years, leader Lu has made a great fortune. His residence is filled with thousands of taels of gold, so naturally he would carry so much around. When the crowd heard the name of Taihang Mountain leader Lu, many exchanged whispers. One said, "So, it is Taihang Mountains' Lu Tong. He seems to have a misunderstanding with Elder One." Lu Tong was considered the most powerful person amongst evil men in the 5 northern provinces. He was proficient with the techniques of the 6 saber stances and 6 fist stances, and made a good name for himself around the Yellow River. Someone said, "People with good intentions don't come, and people who come have bad intentions. Today there may be some trouble." Lu Tong laughed and said, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. 10 years ago, my brothers and I were at the Taiyuan prefecture doing a trade when someone secretly spread the word and ruined our sale. That's not the bad part. What's worse is that this caused my brother Lu Wei to get arrested and die of injustice. It wasn't until 3 years ago that I found out it was the doing of this bastard, Wan Zhenshan. How do you say we settled this?" Wan Zhenshan replied, "You are correct. It is indeed I, with the surname Wan, who spread the secret. For someone trying to make a living in the realm, doing an unjust trade is already unforgivable. But what's worse is your brother Lu Wei raped innocent women, and even murdered 4 people. When I realized what he was doing, such horrible deeds, I could not let such injustice go unpunished." Maybe the villain will turn out to be the good guy? Already making guesses, eh? When everyone heard of this, they all shouted, "Such unrighteous deeds! Have you no shame?" Another said, "You bastard, you should be arrested by the authorities." Another added, "You rapist, how dare you cause trouble in Jianling?" Lu Tong turned tail and was about to leave, but shouted, "Wan Zhenshan, if you really think you are heroic, you should have come out in the open about the matter, then I would have respected you as a worthy fellow. Why be sneaky and snitch on us to the authorities? And why did you steal the 6,000 taels of silver that we earned? You bastard, you are cheap and shameless. If you have the guts, come and let us have a fight to the death." Wan Zhenshan laughed. "Ha ha ha, Elder Lu, after having not seen you for 10 years, your martial arts has increased substantially. It is unfortunate that with the likes of you, the higher your martial arts, the more people you will hurt. I am of old age now, but we will compare our skills." And with that, he stepped out. Oh no, what do you guys think? Is he gonna die? I feel like these chapters are pretty short, no? We're already almost halfway. So I'm thinking we do 1 chapter an episode. Yeah, how about that? Suddenly, amidst a group of people emerged a young man with thick eyebrows and big eyes. With a flip of his arms, he hooked both arms of Lu Tong and shouted, "You ruined my teacher's new clothes! You must pay for the damages!" Oh no. The speaker was Qi Jiangfa's disciple Di Yun. Lu Tong tried to break Di Yun's lock, but Di Yun held him too tightly without giving him a chance to escape. If Lu Tong could use his arm strength, he could use his renowned iron arm technique to repel him, but his arm was locked tight, and he could not exert any strength. Oh, so this Di Yun guy is pretty good, it seems. In a fit of rage, he attacked Di Yun's stomach with his left knee and yelled, "Let go of me!" Di Yun felt great pain and his arm lock weakened. Lu Tong followed with a stroke of the wind and cloud suddenly rises and broke his lock. Then he continued with a fist stroke of the dark dragon visits the ocean, one of the techniques in his 6 fist stances. Di Yun retreated a few steps. "I won't fight you," he said. "My teacher's new robe costs 3 taels of silver. We sold our cattle, Da Huang, and sewed 3 pieces of clothing. Today was only his first time wearing it." "Silly child, what nonsense do you speak of?" Lu Tong retorted. Di Yun moved forward 3 steps and shouted, "Quickly, pay the damages!" Since he had been raised in the countryside, he had a passion and understanding for the hard work people put into making stuff. He knew that his teacher sold his beloved cattle to purchase 3 new pieces of clothing. Today was only his first time wearing it, yet it was already ruined by this bastard. How could he let this matter drop? He didn't care about what misunderstandings Lu Tong had with Wan Qinshan. His master's robe must be repaid. "Nephew Di," Wan Jinshan called out, "I will pay for your master's robe. Please, step back." Di Yun replied, "I want him to pay right now. If he leaves and you go back on your word, who is going to pay?" As he said this, he went to Lu Tong to undress his robe. Nice. I like him already. He just goes up to this guy and starts taking off his clothes. But Lu Tong dodged and punched Di Yun hard on the chest. Wan Qinshan repeated his command in a harsher tone. "Nephew Di, get back!" Di Yun's eyes were red with fury, and he said, "First, you are unwilling to pay, and now you're beating me up. You are very unreasonable." Lu Tong laughed. "So what if I hit you?" "Then I will hit you too." Di Yun got into a fighting stance. He attacked with his left palm and supported with his right palm. Lu Tong unleashed the attacking tiger stance. He attacked with his right fist while his left leg remained idle. In a brief moment, the two had already exchanged over a dozen stances. Di Yun had been training under Qi Jiangfa since he was young, and often sparred with his younger martial sister Qi Feng. He practiced swords every day without rest. Even though Lu Tong was an infamous bandit who made a name for himself amongst evildoers, at this moment he could not easily beat Di Yun. Several times he tried to unleash his iron arm technique, only to have it dodged by Di Yun. He hit him on the shoulder twice with 2 fists. But Di Yun had strong muscles and bones and was not easily wounded. They continued to battle for several stances. When Lu Tong got frustrated and suddenly changed his fist technique from 6 fist stances to the red sacrum connecting fist. The latter was actually part of 6 fist stances, but it was a variation which had a different essence altogether. Di Yun had never seen such a fist technique, and with the fright his left leg was hit by Lu Tong twice. Wan Qinshan could tell that Di Yun was losing and said, "Nephew Di, back off. You can't beat him." "Even if I can't beat him, we still have to fight," Di Yun retorted. With a loud crash, his chest was hit by Lu Tong again. Qi Feng was watching from the sidelines, and her face was full of worry. She could not resist anymore and said, "Martial brother, please, don't fight anymore. Let Uncle Wan handle it." But Di Yun was relentless and continued to attack, saying, "I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you." Di Yun was struck again. This time his nose was hit with a fist and blood spattered everywhere. First we had wine, then toilet water. Now we got blood. Wang Junshan's eyebrows creased with worry. Brother, your disciple won't listen to me. Why don't you help him to stop? He suggested. Qi Jiangfa replied, Let him taste defeat. In a moment I will fight this bastard myself. Suddenly, from the front door entered an old beggar with a dirty face. Xiao Feng? Huh? He's here too? He held a broken rice bowl with his left hand while he used a crutch on his right. Today is Elder's birthday. Please be kind enough to spare a bowl of cold rice, he said. Everyone present was watching the battle between Lu Tong and Di Yun, so nobody paid any attention to this old man. The old beggar cried, Oh, I'm going to starve. I'm going to starve. Suddenly, his left foot accidentally slipped on the dirty toilet water on the ground. As he was about to fall over, he shouted, Ah, I'm going to fall. The bowl and bamboo stick he was holding in his hands both fell at the same time. Coincidentally, the broken bowl hit Lu Tong exactly on the Ji-Tong acupoint on his back, while the bamboo stick hit Lu Tong's Chu-Chen acupoint around the curve of his knees. They just be letting anyone in here, huh? True. At once, Lu kneeled on his left leg and felt numbness around his entire body. Di Yun took the opportunity to unleash two fists at once, and with two loud claps, sent Lu Tong's large body flying across the hall. Nice. A splashing sound was heard as Lu Tong's body landed right amidst the pile of shit. Nice. The sudden change of... Wait, do we have a... Something like that. This sudden change of circumstances was quite unexpected. The crowd watched as Lu Tong made his way back up in a complete mess. Everyone in the audience burst into laughter. One of them shouted, Capture him! Don't let this thief escape! Pay the damages for my master's robe, demanded Di Yun. He wanted to attack again, but was grabbed on the shoulder from behind and couldn't move. He turned to look and saw that it was his master. Qi Jiangfa said, You got lucky to win. Why pursue? Qi Feng took out a handkerchief and wiped the blood off Di Yun's face. Di Yun looked down and saw that his new clothes were now ruined by many stains of blood. Oh no. More clothes ruined. He's gonna go crazy. And shouted, Oh dear, my new clothes are also ruined. The old beggar was about to walk out the door, saying to himself, Not only did I not get any food, I even lost my bowl. Di Yun knew that his fluke victory was all thanks to the beggar's slip, so from his bosom he produced 20 coins that his teacher gave him as expenses. Di Yun rushed out the door to hand him the money. The beggar expressed his gratitude and left. All right. I like that. That was a good scene. That was a good scene. How do you guys like Di Yun so far? He's growing on me. It's pretty cool. All right. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I will be right back. And we are back. How are you guys doing? How do you like the story so far? You guys are so rough on Di Yun in the comments. Yeah, I get it. I kind of get it. Like, he's from the countryside, okay? New clothes are a big deal. It's a huge deal, okay? Remember, they had to sell their ox. They had to sell their ox to buy these things, and now this guy just ruined his clothes. Would make a guy mad. That night, Wan Zhenshan prepared a banquet and treated with great honor the many guests that were present. He was a famous person in Qingzhou, and as such, he received a scroll of good fortune from the prefect. The words were glossed with gold and appeared quite prestigious. Everyone was discussing the events from earlier today, speaking of how Di Yun was blessed with good fortune when the old beggar entered at an opportune moment, causing Lu Tong to lose his concentration. Everyone was impressed that Di Yun had such bravery at such a young age. Exchanging several dozen stances with an evildoer was quite an accomplishment. Bells for his new clothes? Everyone wished the best for Wan Zhenshan's birthday, saying that even though it was a coincidence that the old beggar entered, had Wan Zhenshan himself stepped into battle, he would have defeated Lu Tong in a matter of a few stances. But for Wan Zhenshan to not have to step in and lower his dignity was just as well. Di Yun received many compliments, causing the 8 disciples of Wan Zhenshan to feel a bit ashamed. Lu Tong was after their master, yet they could not do anything to stop him. Instead, they had a petty disciple of their martial uncle to step in to fight. The 8 disciples felt angry at heart, but could not express their feelings. Oh no. Are they going to be bad news? After Wan Zhenshan gave a toast to everyone present, his first disciple, Lu Kun, second disciple, Zhou Qi, third disciple, Wan Gui, fourth, Sun Jun, fifth, Bu Yuan, sixth, Wu Kan, seventh, Feng Tan, and eighth, Shen Cheng also made a toast to the people around. Among them, third disciple Wan Gui was the only son of Wan Zhengshan. He was tall, with a great stature, and looked like a gentleman born of a rich family, unlike his first disciple Lu Kun and second disciple Zhou Qi, who had an average appearance. After the 8 of them offered a toast to the various famous scholars and clan leaders present, they offered one to their uncle Qi Changfa, and conveniently offered one to Di Yun as well. Wan Gui said, "Today, Brother Di gave my father a lot of face. Among our 8 martial brothers, we must all drink with Brother Di." Brother Di had never been a drinker in the past, so he said, "I won't drink it, I won't drink it." Wan Gui continued, "Today my father thrice requested for Brother Di to back off, yet Brother Di did not listen, as if my father was talking to thin air. Now we are offering you a drink and you refuse? Do you mean to take the Wan family lightly?" Di Yun was stunned by his words and uttered, No, I don't." Qi Changfa could sense the negative implications of Wan Gui's statements and said, "Yuner, just drink it." I don't drink," said Di Yun. Qi Changfa got frustrated and declared, "Drink it." Di Yun had no choice but to obey. He downed 1 drink to each of his uncle's disciples, making 8 drinks in total. Oh, damn. Oh, no. His face flushed red, and his stomach felt a bit nauseous. That night, when Di Yun went to bed, he felt nauseous, and pains excruciated his chest, shoulders, and legs, the areas where Lu Tong had hit him during the fight. In the middle of the night, amidst his dreams, he suddenly heard someone yelling from out the window, "Brother Di! Di Yun! Di Yun!" Peer pressure to drink. Peer pressure from his own master. Di Yun quickly awakened and asked, "Who is it?" The man outside replied, "It is Wan Gui. I have something to say to you. Can Brother Di please step out for a moment?" Oh no. Bad news, guys. Di Yun felt a bit dizzy, got out of bed, put on his clothes and sandals, and opened the window. All he could see was 8 people lined up, each holding a long sword in hand. It was the 8 disciples of Wan Zhenshan. "What do you call me for?" asked Di Yun. Wan Gui replied, "We wish to test our sword skills with Brother Di." Di Yun shook his head and replied, "My master said that I'm not allowed to spar with Uncle Wan's disciples." Wan Gui smirked. "Looks like Uncle Qi has already acknowledged our superiority." Di Yun angrily retorted, What do you mean acknowledged?" "Qi, Qi, Qi." Suddenly, 3 sounds were heard as Wan Gui struck Di Yun 3 times with his sword, the blade of the sword missing his face just barely. In shock, Di Yun moved back a few steps. He accidentally tripped his leg over a stool and fell, looking quite pathetic. Wan Zhenshan's 8 disciples laughed heavily at the scene. Di Yun became enraged and produced a longsword from underneath his pillow and jumped out the window. He saw the 8 unfriendly faces of Wan Zhenshan's disciples and wanted to attack, but remembered that his master told him not to get on bad terms with them, so he could only say, "What do you want from me?" Wan Gui faked a stroke. Why do I keep doing that? Wan Gui faked a stroke with his sword and said, "Brother Di, today you stepped out to fight out of bravery, thinking that our family in Qingzhou would have perished if not for your help, right? Do you take it that among the Wan clan there is no one who is a match for Brother Di?" Di Yun shook his head and said, "That person ruined my master's clothes, so of course I have to make him pay up. What does it matter to you?" Wan Gui replied coldly, "You made a performance in front of all of these renowned guests today and gave yourself a lot of face, while us 8 brothers were shamed to no end. Not to even to mention roaming the realm from now on. Even within Qingzhou, how can we have any sort of respectable status anymore? What you did today, don't you think it was going a bit too far?" Yeah, these people are just super unreasonable. Di Yun was stumped for words and said, I don't know." The eldest disciple Lu Kun remarked, "Third brother, this brat is playing us for a fool. Why talk to him? Let's fight." Wan Gui unleashed his long sword, aiming for Di Yun's left shoulder. Di Yun could tell that this was a fake stroke, so he did not defend himself at all. Wan Gui withdrew his sword after realizing Di Yun outwitted him and became even angrier. "Good, so you won't fight back?" Di Yun replied, "Master said that I definitely cannot fight with Uncle's disciples." Suddenly, Wan Gui struck with his long sword and made a slash on Di Yun's right sleeve. Di Yun loved this new garment greatly, and now that it was unreasonably ruined by Wan Gui, he could not hold back his anger anymore and shouted, "Man, he loves his clothes, doesn't he?" "You slashed my garment! You need to pay the damages!" Is this going to be the entire novel? People keep ruining his clothes and he'll be like, Why did you do that?" And he gets into fights. That'll be really funny. Wan Gui laughed coldly and made another stroke with his sword, slashing his left sleeve. Di Yun quickly unsheathed his sword to counterattack. The two began to fight, the pace growing quicker and quicker as the fight prolonged. The two were using identical sword techniques, and after a dozen or so stances, Di Yun got annoyed and started to aim for Wan Gui's vital area. Zhou Qi shouted, "Hey, this brat really wants to take your life? Third brother, no need to hold back." Oh no, I think Di Yun's gonna kill somebody. He's gonna kill Wan Gui, probably. He's gonna accidentally kill him. Or Wan Gui accidentally kills one of his men. I don't know. No, I think Di Yun kills someone. He could kill someone, or someone else kills another person, and he is framed for it. Is my guess. Di Yun was held aback by his words. If by accident I really wound him, nothing good could come out of that. Accordingly, Di Yun started to lower the intensity and the fatality of his strokes. Wan Gui realized that he was not as proficient with the sword as Di Yun, nor were his strokes fatal enough. Di Yun slowly backed off, then said, I'm not really fighting you for real. What are you doing? Wan Gui replied, What am I doing? I want to stab you a few times. And with that, he attacked again with his sword vertically. Di Yun dodged to the right and saw that Wan Gui's right shoulder exposed an opening. So with his long sword, he struck out vertically at Wan Gui. But upon realizing that Wan Gui's shoulder would most certainly suffer damages, Di Yun turned his wrist and flipped the blade of his sword so that it was flat, then tapped his shoulder a few times. Damn, he just showed him off. That's worse than death, guys. Di Yun figured out now that the outcome of the battle had been decided. This should be the point where Wan Gui admitted defeat and back off, as was often the case when he sparred with Qi Feng. But much to his surprise, Wan Gui's face flushed red with anger and actually struck out his sword vertically. Di Yun was caught off guard and was stabbed by Wan Gui on his left leg. Lu Kun, Zhou Qi, and the others applauded and said, You little brat, fallen already? If you beg for mercy, we might just let you go. Another said, It turns out that Uncle Qi's disciple from the countryside is nothing but an amateur. Di Yun was already enraged from being stabbed, but now upon hearing the others mock his master, he became even more furious. He gritted his teeth and brandished his sword with the intensity of a rainstorm. Wan Gui saw that his opponent was losing his mind and started to get nervous. Since he was little, he had always been treated with the utmost respect. Even though his swordplay was decent, he had never fought a battle as serious as this before, so he felt a bit frightened. It was evident as his sword moves began to weaken. He has a lot of control for being drunk, yeah. Maybe he is just buzzed? Well, no. He had never drank before. And he just drank 8 drinks. So I think he should be pretty drunk. Bu Yuan saw that his third brother was going to lose, so he lifted a brick and threw it at Di Yun's spine. Di Yun was completely focused on attacking Wan Gui when suddenly he felt a great pain on his back as he was hit hard with the brick. He turned around and reprimanded, You guys have no shame! Now fighting 2 on 1? Bu Yuan replied, What? What did you say? Even if all 8 of you fight me at once, I cannot put my master to shame, said Di Yun. He disregarded the sharp pain on his back and aimed his sword at Wan Gui. But by this time, his sword stance was already disrupted by pain, and as such, he left many flaws and openings in his attack. However, he still exuded an aura of confidence, and Wan Gui was hesitant to counterattack. Bu Yuan gave a signal to his 6th brother Wu Ken and said, Third brother's swordplay is proficient. This brat cannot handle him. We should step in and break them up before he suffers any real damage for fear of being scolded by Uncle Qi. Wu Ken nodded and said, Good idea. We brothers should pay attention and not let third brother harm anyone with his sword. The 2 of them positioned themselves left and right and slashed Di Yun on the back. Di Yun's swordplay originally was not more impressive than Wan Gui. It was only thanks to his mindless aggression and bravery was he able to take the upper hand. But now, when Bu Yuan and Wu Ken went forward to attack together, it was 3 against 1, and Di Yun instantly faltered. With a sword stroke, his his left leg was stabbed. This stab was not a light one. In fact, he could no longer keep his balance and fell over. He did not let go of his sword, but he could not take the attacks of all three at once. Lu Kun groaned and, with a flying kick, sent Di Yun's longsword flying out of his wrist and landing amidst the bushes. Wan Gui struck out with his longsword, aiming for Di Yun's throat. Wu Yuan and Wu Ken both laughed heartily as they backed off. Wan Gui, now having won the battle, laughed in great joy. You rustic bumpkin, do you admit defeat? Di Yun replied, Admit your face! Good one, Di Yun. The four of you ganged up on me. How do you consider yourselves honorable? Wan Gui made a faint stab on Di Yun's throat, and blood gushed out of his wound. Still so stubborn? If I used just a bit of my strength, I could instantly slit your throat. Go ahead, Di Yun dared him. If you have the guts, then slit my throat. If you don't, then you're a coward. Wan Gui became furious, struck out with his left foot, and kicked Di Yun hard in the stomach, then shouted, Bastard! Let's see if you are still stubborn. This kick caused Di Yun's internal organs to feel as if they were crushed. He screamed in pain, gritted his teeth, and cursed. Ah! You stupid bastard! You son of a bitch! Wan Gui gave him another hard kick, this time on his face. At this point, Di Yun felt dizzy and could no longer retort. He began to feel faint. Wan Gui sneered. Today we will let you go. Quickly complain to your teacher and Marshall's sister. Tell them that we outnumbered and bullied you. We expect you to go home crying. Di Yun indignantly replied, Complain about what? A true gentleman who seeks revenge only does so himself, and seeks the assistance of none other. Wan Gui expected him to say this, and replied, Then let's leave a marking on your face, so as to make your master speak out. With that, he gave Di Yun a hard kick on his right cheek and left eye that caused his face to swell. Tears started to gush out of his eye. Ah. Wu Yuan applauded and laughed. Ha 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 ha! The gentleman is crying. The hero turns him into a fool. Di Yun was so angry that he felt his stomach was about to explode. He recalled how Bu Yuan went to his master's cottage and was treated so graciously with wine and chicken. He was honored with utmost respect, without the least bit of mistreatment. Yet, at this point, Bu Yuan was humiliating him. Wan Gui said, You can't beat me, so why not complain to my father, and have my father punish me to make yourself feel better? Wah, wah, Uncle Wen, your 8 disciples beat me up to a pulp and left me crying. Wah, Uncle Wen, won't you correct this injustice? Only a sore loser like you would complain to the elders, Di Yun scorned. Wan Gui, Lu Kun, and Bu Yuan looked at each other and laughed, happy that they were able to expel their hatred. They retracted their swords back into their sheaths and said, Brave fellow, if you have the guts, then we will fight again tomorrow. We will take our leave now. The 8 of them laughed their way out. Nice. Good job, guys. Di Yun could only watch as the 8 of them left him. In his heart he felt miserable, but even worse was that he could not understand their reasoning, thinking to himself, I have never wronged them, and I have definitely not wronged their master. Why did they beat me up so unexpectedly? Is it really the case that city folk are unreasonable? With all his might, he tried to summon the strength to stand up, but his head felt dizzy, and he fell back down. Suddenly, behind him, a sigh was heard. Alas, since you couldn't beat them, you should have begged for mercy. No, wait, how did I do his voice? No, no. I had it before. It was an old man's voice. Now you have been beaten for no good reason. Isn't that such a shame? I've lost it. I lost it. Can't do it. Di Yun turned to look at who the speaker was. I would rather be beaten to death than to submit to these cowards, Di Yun retorted. He saw a man with a hunchback and worn-out sandals slowly approaching. He remembered that this was the beggar he saw from earlier today. The old beggar said, Alas, when a man grows old, the rheumatism on his back only gets worse. Little child, come massage my back. How did the old man turn into an old woman? Shut up. Be quiet, you. Di Yun felt angry and gave a then ignored him. The old beggar continued. I have no descendants, and now that I'm old, there is no one willing to take care of me. Oh, the agony. Holding his bamboo stick, he slowly trotted his way out. Di Yun saw that the beggar's back quivered greatly. As he had just been beaten up badly, he felt commiserated for the beggar. He shouted, Hey, I have a dozen or so coins. Take it to buy some buns. The old beggar trotted his way back slowly, received the coins, and said, The pain on my back is getting worse. Help me knead it. All right, let me bandage the wounds on my leg first. You only think of taking care of yourself and not others. How can you call yourself honorable? Di Yun was provoked by this statement and said, Fine, I will help you knead it. He sat on the ground and started massaging his back with his palms. After a few hits, the old beggar said, Very good, very good. Use a bit more strength. Di Yun added a bit more strength to his hits. The beggar said, Unfortunately, it is not strong enough. Di Yun added even more strength, and the beggar sighed. Alas, you are indeed a useless child. After getting beaten half to death, you no longer even have the ability to give a proper massage to an old man. Why is someone like you still alive in this world? Di Yun angrily retorted, If I hit any harder, I'm afraid I will break your old bones. The old beggar laughed. If you were capable of breaking my back, you wouldn't have been on the floor getting beaten up. Di Yun got very angry and increased his strength even more. The old beggar said, that's better, but it's still too weak. Di Yun punched the old beggar hard with his fist, but the old beggar only laughed. Too weak, useless, Di Yun said. Old man, don't joke around with me. I really don't want to hurt you. The old beggar sneered. Do you really think you can hurt me? Give it your best shot. Hit me once and see. Di Yun gathered strength from his right arm and was about to hit the beggar when the moonlight reflected the doddering physique of the old man. He became soft-hearted and said, I won't share such petty insight with you, and only lightly tapped his back. Suddenly, he felt his waist was being pushed back and repelled. In an instant, his whole body was sent flying like prancing clouds. Boom! He fell on the grass with a loud crash and felt dizzy. He took a while to recover, but still felt a bit dazed when he got up. He wasn't angry, but was just curious as to what happened. Lady Koi, you really think that's second brother? Ah, probably. It it was you? It was you who threw me? He asked. Who else is here besides me? The beggar replied. How did you throw me away? On my bed, I look at the moon. I bow my head and think of home. This is the last two lines of a poem by Li Bai during the Tang period, which talks about reminiscing one's hometown. Gotcha. Di Yun became curious and asked, That was the sword technique that my master taught me. How do you know it? Fist techniques and swordplay are all the same. Besides, your teacher did not teach it to you correctly. Di Yun angrily retorted, How did my master teach me wrong? How can a beggar like you even question my master's abilities? If your master taught you correctly, then why didn't you win the fight earlier? They were ganging up on me, 3 or 4 at a time. Of course I couldn't take them all, Di Yun reasoned. But if it was 1 against 1, do you think I would have lost? The old beggar laughed. In battle, who says it has to be 1 against 1? If you want to fight 1 against 1, and your opponents don't, what can you do? Then you would have to kneel down and beg for mercy. If one person can take on 12 people at once, then that is a true warrior. Di Yun thought what the old beggar said wasn't irrational, and replied, But they are my uncle's disciples, and our sword skills are comparable. How am I supposed to take on all 8 of them? The old beggar replied, I will teach you a few techniques, which will guarantee you victory against the 8 of them. Do you want to learn it? Di Yun was overjoyed and exclaimed, I want to learn it. But upon further contemplation, he thought that such profound abilities may not exist in this world. Furthermore, the old beggar would most certainly not possess such abstruse martial arts, so he became hesitant. Suddenly, someone grabbed him from behind and sent his body flying into the air, this time spinning 2 full somersaults before falling heavily to the ground. His arm landed smack down on the floor, and his joints were nearly dislocated. When he got back up, he was in so much pain he couldn't speak, but in his heart he was extremely pleased. He said, Old uncle, I want to learn from you. The old beggar said, Tonight, I will teach you a few techniques. Tomorrow night, you will fight the 8 of them again. Do you dare? Di Yun thought, Your martial arts abilities are so high. How can I learn it in merely a day? But when he thought about the opportunity of defeating Wan Gui, Lu Kun, and the others, he could not resist and declared, I dare. The worst that can happen is that I get beat up again. What's the big deal? The old beggar extended his left hand, grabbed Di Yun by the neck, and slammed it on the floor and scolded, Stupid brat! I'm teaching you martial arts. How can you lose to them? Do you not trust me? Di Yun felt pain from the fall, but he felt even more excited and quickly replied, Right. I spoke incorrectly. May Elder teach me, please, now. The old beggar said, First, execute the sword techniques that you have already learned. And as you are executing them, recite the names of the techniques. All right, Di Yun replied. He saw that his leg was still bleeding and hastily wrapped up the wound. Then he grabbed his long sword from the grass and executed the techniques that his master had taught him, while reciting the names of the techniques. His pace became faster as he executed and recited the techniques quicker. He was still in the middle of executing his techniques when the old beggar suddenly laughed. Di Yun retracted his sword and asked, "Did I mess up?" The old beggar did not reply. He had his hands on his stomach and laughed heartily. Di Yun got a bit angry and said, "Even if I am not performing well, there's nothing funny about that." The old beggar abruptly stopped laughing and said, "Qi Chang Fa is indeed Qi Chang Fa. You are impressively vicious." He shook his head and said, "Give me your sword." Di Yun threw the sword over to the beggar. The beggar caught it and faintly recited, "The lonely bird rises from the ocean. The pond does not dare to care." He executed his moves with the swiftness of a dancer, as if upon holding the sword he suddenly transformed into a different person. He had a calm composure, and his sword moves were executed with elegance. Di Yun observed the sword techniques, then suddenly a thought came to his mind, and he said, "Elder, today when I was fighting against Lu Tong, did you purposefully throw your bowl at him to help me?" The beggar replied with annoyance, "Do you even have to ask? 6 fist stances Lu Tong's martial arts is much superior to yours. Do you really think you could have beaten him?" He spoke all the while executing his sword moves. Di Yun felt strange as he noticed that the mnemonics the beggar recited were not much different from his own. It only sounded different, yet the sword techniques were entirely different. Suddenly he switched his sword to his left hand, and with his right hand he slapped Di Yun's face. Di Yun was shocked and angrily said, Why did you hit me?" The old beggar laughed and replied, "I'm teaching you swordplay, and you aren't even paying attention. Of course you deserve to be hit." Di Yun thought that the old beggar was right, so he became calm and replied, "You're right. My mistake. I was thinking that the sword mnemonics you recited were identical to my master's, yet your execution of the moves are entirely different. How strange." The old beggar asked, "Do I perform it better, or does your master perform it better?" Di Yun shook his head and said, "I don't know." The old beggar returned Di Yun the longsword and said, "Let us spar." "My skill level is nowhere close to yours. I can't spar with you," replied Di Yun. The old beggar laughed. "Well, looks like this silly child is not completely stupid. How about this? We will only compare techniques and not internal energy." He held a bamboo stick on his hands as a substitute for the sword and aimed it at Di Yun. Di Yun adjusted his sword horizontally to block. He saw that the beggar did not move his stick and pressed forward to attack. But as he struck his sword downwards towards the beggar, the bamboo stick rose like a violent snake, and with a forward momentum he was hit on the shoulder. Di Yun felt defeated and complimented, "Excellent, excellent!" With his sword still horizontal, he now aimed it directly at the beggar. The beggar flipped his bamboo stick and matched it next to his sword. Di Yun tried to counterattack, but the beggar's bamboo stick spun several circles on the sword and repelled any strength directed at him back to his opponent. Di Yun could not keep a firm grasp any longer, and the long sword flew out of his palms. He was expressionless for a moment. After a while, he said, "Elder, your swordplay is truly remarkable." The old beggar used his bamboo stick to pick up the long sword that fell on the floor. He picked up the sword effortlessly, as if it was glued to the stick. "Your master has a set of good martial arts, and he only taught you this? That is strange." He shook his head and continued, "In regard to your clan's Tang poem swordplay, every stance is a recitation of a line of a poem from the Tang dynasty." Di Yun replied, "What Tang poem swordplay? Master said it's called the reclining corpse swordplay. Its essence is to force the opponent to recline like a corpse. In Chinese, reclining corpse is pronounced tang shi, which is like the Tang poem. Gotcha. The old beggar laughed. It is Tang poem, not reclining corpse, he corrected. Your teacher told you it was reclining corpse? That is funny. The two stanzas, the lonely bird rises from the ocean. The pond does not care to talk, talks about a lonely and isolated bird that rises from the ocean. Sees a small pond on land and doesn't stop to rest. These two lines were written by the Tang Dynasty Chancellor Cheng Ju. He used an analogy of himself as a man of high status who does not fight for fame and glory. He turned this into a swordplay, hence a sense of pride and elegance in the technique. The does not dare to care apart means does not care to look. Your master taught you. Brother Wang shouts up, dare not cross the horizontal. The former line became an outcry. The latter became overcautious. The original intent was to have nothing left of the sword. Your master is truly remarkable. Iron Luck across the river teaches his disciples in such a way. Impressive, impressive. As he said this, he grinned. Bro is just roasting the guy's master. Yeah, totally. Di Yun was shocked by his words and sunk deep in thought. He was not very literate, so he did not quite understand the meaning behind the stanzas. Although the old beggar may be right, Di Yun had always shown great respect towards his master, so he assumed that what his master said was flawless and never questioned him. Upon hearing the old beggar's words, he felt a bit bitter in his heart. Then he turned around and said, I'm going to sleep. I don't want to learn anymore. The old beggar was surprised. Huh. Why? Did I say something wrong? You may very well be right, but you spoke poorly of my master, and as such I can no longer learn from you. My master is a farmer and isn't very literate, so he would not understand what you just described. The old beggar laughed. Your teacher is illiterate? That is very strange. A farmer who is illiterate, what is there to laugh about? Di Yun angrily replied. The beggar laughed heartily, caressed him on the head, and said, Good. You are a child with a kind heart. I like you. I ask for your forgiveness. From now on, I will no longer disrespect your master. All right? Di Yun was delighted and smiled. As long as you don't talk poorly of my master, I could kowtow to you. And with that, he kneeled on the floor and gave several loud kowtows. The old beggar laughed and happily accepted them. Then he decided to explain some of the word mnemonics. What is meant by the wind suddenly blows, the mountain escapes like a cloth, was really facing down, can hear the winds, continuous mountains suppose undulating waves. What was meant by the falling mud welcomes big sister, the horse blows a little wind, was actually the sunset reflects the banner, the horse cries soughing winds. By Hunan dialect tones, the words mud and day were pronounced similarly. In all of the old beggar's speech, he never mentioned anything negative about Qi Zhang Fa, and only intended to correct mistakes in Di Yun's swordplay. Wait, so the master has been teaching him the wrong moves? The old beggar said, "There are too many precarious segments to your swordplay. I cannot point them out all at once. Now I will teach you 3 techniques, so tomorrow you will fight those 8 pathetic bullies again. Remember these mnemonics carefully." Di Yun gave his complete attention to the beggar's demonstrations with the bamboo stick. The beggar explained, "The first technique is the piercing shoulder stance. If the enemy is stubbornly defensive and you can't find an opening, you only need to unleash this sword phase attack, and you will immediately be able to break through his defense and pierce his shoulder. The second stance, slap in the face stance," oh, I like that stance, "was the one I used against you earlier. The sword switches to the left hand, and the right hand slaps the opponent right in the face. This stance is strange and unorthodox, even if your opponent knows what you are planning. If he dodges to the left, then you hit to the left. If he dodges to the right, then hit to the right. The more he tries to dodge, the harder he gets hit. The third stance is the releasing sword stance. It was the stance I executed earlier when I used my bamboo stick to knock the longsword out of your hand." These 3 stances had all been used against Di Yun during their battle. Originally, each one of them had an elegant name in the form of a line from a Tang poem, but the old beggar knew that Di Yun was quite illiterate and wouldn't understand such complicated mnemonics. It would only make things harder to remember, so instead he changed these mnemonics to more convenient names. Di Yun was not exceptionally clever. Although he had an ill temper, he was highly determined, and the 3 stances took him over 2 hours before he could execute them skillfully. The old beggar laughed. "Good," he complimented. "You have to promise me one thing. You must not speak to anyone that I taught you swordplay today, including your master and your martial sister, or else..." Di Yun respected his master like his father, and had already loved his beautiful martial sister secretly for quite some time. Of course. He had nothing to hide from his master, much less his martial sister, so he was at a loss for words. The old beggar sighed and continued. "The reason herein I cannot tell you at this point in time. But if you reveal the events of today, my life will be in jeopardy. I will most certainly fall prey to the 5-cloud hand Wan Junshan's sword." Di Yun was astonished and said, "Elder, your martial arts are so powerful. How can you fear my martial uncle?" The old beggar did not answer and slowly started to leave. Then he said, "Whether or not you have ill intentions towards me depends on you." Di Yun rushed forward beside him and said, "I cannot even thank Elder enough. Why would I want to harm your life? Let it be known that if I break this promise, I shall be punished by heaven and earth." The old beggar let out a deep sigh and continued walking. Di Yun stood motionless for a bit, then remembered that he had not asked the old beggar his name, shouting, "Elder! Elder!" But he was already long gone. Early the next morning, Qi Jiangfa noticed that Di Yun's eyes were blue, and his nose was swollen. He became curious and asked, "Who did you fight with to get beat up like this?" Di Yun did not like to tell lies and found it difficult to give an adequate reply. Qi Feng laughed. "Isn't it the fight from yesterday when you battled with the bandit Lu Tong that caused this?" she asked. Qi Jiangfa could not remember last night's events too clearly. He was drunk. So he did not further pursue the matter. Chi Feng pulled on Di Yun's shirt, and the two of them went out from the side door until they reached the side of a well. They looked to see that there was no one else in sight before they both sat on top of the well. Oh, they're doing the Cloud and Tifa thing. Remember, guys, the scene where they sat on the well? Oh. Chi Feng asked, "Marshall, brother, who did you fight with last night?" Di Yun did not answer. Chi Feng continued, "You don't have to hide it from me. Yesterday, when you fought with Lu Tong, I remember very clearly where he hit you. He definitely didn't hit you in the eyes or the nose." Please stay a wholesome pair with no tragedy. You sweet summer child. Di Yun knew that he could not hide the truth from her and thought, as long as I don't tell her about the elder, it should be okay. So he told her everything that happened last night, how the 8 disciples of the Wan clan came to look for him, how they fought, and how badly he was humiliated. As Chi Feng heard his story, her beautiful face flushed red with anger. "They fought you 8-on-1? What honor did they have?" she complained. "It wasn't all 8 of them at once, just 3 or 4 at the same time," Di Yun corrected. Chi Feng retorted, "It would only take 3 or 4 of them to defeat you. The others have no need to step in. If the 3 or 4 of them couldn't beat you, then it would have been 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 at once." Di Yun nodded in agreement. "That is probably true." Chi Feng stood up. "Let's go tell my father and have Wan Jinshan dictate the justice. In a fit of rage, she did not even address him as Uncle Wan, and instead addressed him by his full name. Di Yun declined. "No, I lost the fight. If I complain to my master, people will take me for a coward." Chi Feng felt contemptuous, but felt sympathy when she saw how badly his clothes were ripped. From her bosom, she produced a sewing kit and started to mend together the holes in his clothes. As her hair rubbed against his chin, he began to feel itchy. He could smell the fragrant scent of her skin, and his mind began to wander. "Marshall's sister," he cried. "Water spinach, don't talk." Wait. What? Someone explain that? "Water spinach, don't talk," she urged. "Don't let people mistake you for a thief." The people in Jiangnan were highly superstitious, believing that people who talked while having their clothes mended would be accused of stealing. Water spinach was the nickname that Chi Feng gave to Di Yun, which mocked his straightforward and unsuspicious nature. So, water spinach are unsuspicious. At nighttime, Wan Jinshan held a banquet in the dining room and invited Qi Changfa and his 2 disciples, as well as his own disciples, making 12 people in total sitting together in a round table. After 3 rounds of wine, Wan Jinshan saw that Di Yun's lips were greatly swollen and could not eat well. "Nephew Di, yesterday must have been difficult for you. Come, eat a bit more." He grabbed a chicken with his chopsticks and placed it on Di Yun's plate. Wan Jinshan's second disciple, Zhou Qi, snorted in contempt. Chi Feng was already angry from the earlier events, but now she could not hold it back any longer, and shouted, "Uncle Wan, my Marshall brother's wounds were not caused by Lu Tong. It was the doing of your 8 disciples." Ah, good job. She leaked the secret. Wan Jinshan and Qi Changfa felt astonished at once and asked, "What? Of the 8 disciples of the Wan clan, The 8th disciple, Shen Cheng, was the youngest and naturally the cheekiest. He quickly retorted, Brother Di defeated Lu Tong and claimed that Master did not have the guts to stir up trouble and was afraid to fight Lu Tong. He said that it was all thanks to his efforts in subduing Lu Tong that saved Master from embarrassment. We could not take this humiliation, so... Wan Chunshan's face changed colors, but then he laughed. Yes, it was all thanks to Nephew Di that we saved face. Shen Cheng said, Brother Wan said that he was offensive in his language and could not resist sparring with Brother Di. It seems like Brother Wan had the advantage. Di Yun angrily retorted, You speak nonsense. When did I? He was quite influent in speech, and upon hearing Shen Cheng speak out such lies, he wanted to defend himself, but he was so angry that he could not make out his words properly. Water spinach is called Kong Xing Cai, heartless vegetable. The stem is like a straight, hollow straw. It implies that Di Yun is simple-minded. Gotcha. Thanks, Losh. How did Gui hold the advantage? Asked Wan Zhenshan. Shen Cheng replied, Last night when Brother Wan sparred with Brother Di, we were not present to observe. Early in the morning, Brother Wan told everyone that he used a technique. He turned his head towards Wan Gui and inquired, Brother Wan, what technique did you use to defeat Brother Di? Wan Gui replied, The moon in Chang'an. The Wan family threshes clothes. They completely omitted the fact that they had ganged up on him, as if it never happened. They did not mention how Wan Gui was provoking Di Yun. The ones who were present at the scene were all on Wan Gui's side, so naturally nobody spoke of such matters. Furthermore, Shen Cheng was about 15 or 16 years old and had an innocent look. Nobody suspected him of speaking anything but the truth. Wan Zhenshan nodded. Ah, so that is what happened. Qi Jiangfa's face turned bright red. He slammed the table hard and yelled, Yuner, I told you specifically not to get on bad terms with anyone from the Wan clan, let alone do battle. When Di Yun realized that even his master believed what Shen Cheng said, he began to shake violently in anger and defended himself. Master, I did not... Qi Jiangfa slapped him hard across the face and scolded, You did the wrong thing, and you are still making excuses. Di Yun did not dare to parry his attack. Qi Jiangfa indeed gave a very hard slap. Di Yun's face was already swollen, and this made it even worse. Qi Feng quickly intercepted. Father, we haven't even confirmed this, she reasoned. Di Yun's ill temper suddenly got the best of him. He became furious and stood up, picked up one of the long swords situated behind him, unsheathed it, and stepped outside the room. Then he said, Master, this Wan Gui said he beat me. Tell him to fight me again, and we'll see. Oh, yeah, do it. But it's not gonna happen. Qi Jiangfa grew furious and shouted, Where are you going? He left his seat and went out, clasping his fists together. Qi Feng tried to hold her father back, yelling, Father, father! Di Yun spoke loudly. The 8 of you should fight me again. If you have any guts, then come all at once. However, don't come in... Wait. Whoever doesn't come is a turtle bastard's son. Okay. Under extreme fury, he could not control his tongue and uttered such foul language. Yeah, that is a very foul language, guys. Turtle bastard's son. It's like a bastard of a turtle. And that's his son. The son of a turtle's bastard. Wan Qinshan's eyebrows wrinkled, and he said, "That being the case, why don't you guys go and challenge your brother Dee's swordplay?" The 8 disciples were anxiously hoping that their master would say this, and gladly accepted. They each took their long swords and spread themselves in 8 directions, with Di Yun in the middle. Di Yun shouted contemptuously, "Yesterday night I was defeated by 8 bastards ganging up on me. Today we have another 8 bastards." "Yun-er, what nonsense do you speak of?" Qi Changfa yelled. "If you are going to spar, then spar. Why talk trash?" That's the funnest part. When Wan Zhenshan heard the word bastard spew out of Di Yun's mouth, left and right, he became angry for real, since among his 8 disciples he was a biological son. Ugh. Wait, hold on. Since among his 8 disciples was his biological son, Wan Gui, hence Di Yun was indirectly insulting him. He saw his 8 disciples position themselves in 8 directions, planning to attack all at once. Wan Zhenshan scolded, "Your brother Di looks down on you guys, planning to fight you guys 1 against 8. Do you also look down on yourselves?" The eldest disciple Lu Kun replied, "That's right. Younger martial brothers, please step back. Let me first test the abilities of Brother Di." Let's do it. 5th disciple Bu Yuan was the one who was full of treachery. Last night he saw the sparring match between Di Yun and Wan Gui and realized that the former had some decent martial arts. This was a desperate situation, and his eldest martial brother may not necessarily be able to win. If Di Yun wins this first match, there would naturally be someone to defeat him, but the prestige of the Wan clan would have already been lost. Among the 8 disciples, 4th disciple Sun Jun had the most formidable short swordsmanship. It would be best to let him fight, so there could be no excuses. Bu Yuan said, "Eldest martial brother is the model of our clan. Why should he be the one to fight? Let 4th brother fight instead." Lu Kun thought for a moment and understood Bu Yuan's intention, so he happily accepted the offer. Bu Yuan continued, "All right, 4th brother, let's see you in action." The 7 of them backed off to observe, leaving only Sun Jun and Di Yun in the middle of the circle. Sun Jun was quite a reticent fellow and was not much of a talker. Instead, he focused his time on practicing martial arts. As a result, his swordsmanship was the best among his martial brothers. When he heard that his younger martial brother wanted him to fight, he immediately drew his long sword and curved his body slightly to a bow-shaped fighting stance. This stance was called "The Wans Admire Their Lineage," bowing with great attire. It was a sword stance of great customs. Back when Qi Zhangfa taught Di Yun swordplay, he called this stance "The rice dumpling turns foul. The officer bows to the monkey." The meaning was that I am a big bowl of rice, while you are a rotten rice dumpling. I appear to yield to you, to respect you, when I actually despise you deeply. I am an officer and you are a monkey. When I pay respect to you, it is an officer showing respect to a beast. You can insult someone just by the sword stance that you use. When Di Yun saw that his opponent was executing this move, he became even more furious. At once, he drew his sword in a fighting stance and curved his body in a bow shape, returning the same stance used against him. The two remained in a standstill, neither side showing any sign of weakness. Di Yun attacked first and pointed his long sword dead on Sun Jun's abdominal area. The disciples of the Wan clan were shocked. Sun Jun maneuvered his sword to a defensive position, and the two swords clashed against each other. Soon the arms of both fighters became numb. Lu Kun said, "Teacher, look at how ruthless this brat is. He wants to take Brother Sun's life." Wan Zhenshan became a bit worried and thought, "This little bumpkin is so cynical. The battle has just begun and he's already going for the kill. Ting, ting, ting. Many rattling sounds were emitted from their swords. It was clear that both Di Yun and Sun Jun were giving it their all. After about a dozen stances, Sun Jun's sword slanted and revealed an opening on his lower abdomen. Di Yun shouted loudly and aimed his sword toward the opening. Sun Jun defended and managed to keep Di Yun's sword at bay. With a loud crash from his palms, Sun Jun attacked Di Yun hard on the chest. All the Wan disciples were in shock, and one shouted, "You can't even beat one of us! Why exaggerate and try to take us all?" Di Yun turned around, picked up his longsword, and forcefully attacked like a violent storm. Sun Jun blocked several stances and drew his longsword to counterattack, but when suddenly Di Yun's longsword started to jitter and a light stabbing sound was heard, he had already stabbed into Sun Jun's shoulder. This was the piercing shoulder stance that the old beggar had taught him. The piercing shoulder stance was indeed uncalled for and was beyond all expectations. Upon seeing that Sun Jun tremble as his shoulder bled profusely, all of the Wan disciples were taken aback. Lu Kun and Chou Chi both drew their swords and rushed forward to attack. Di Yun slashed left and right with his longsword, and two stabbing sounds were heard. Both Lu Kun and Chou Chi's right shoulders were pierced by his longsword, and the sword in their hands both fell to the ground. Wan Junshan's face began to sink. Then he remarked, "Very good." Wan Gui held his longsword firmly, staring at Di Yun with great contempt. Suddenly he shouted violently and rushed in to attack. He swiped his sword 3 times, but Di Yun parried them all. Then he switched his sword to his left hand, and with his right hand he gave a backhand and smacked Wan Gui hard on the face. This technique was even more sudden than the last. Wan Gui was completely startled. Di Yun gave a flying kick with his left leg and kicked Wan Gui hard on the chest. Wan Gui could not endure the blow and fell to the ground. Bu Yuan quickly went to assist Wan Gui, but was intercepted by Di Yun. Bu Yuan could only lift his sword up to defend. The remaining 3 disciples, Wu Kan, Feng Tan, and Shen Cheng, saw that Di Yun was brutal. He had knocked down Wan Gui so hard that the latter could not even draw the strength to get back up. Furious, they each drew their weapons and circled around Di Yun. At this time, the maids in the Wan family heard the sound of battle from the dining room and quickly went to observe. You forgot that this was Master Wan's birthday? Yep, it's a pretty bad birthday. His son is going to die, isn't he? Let's hope that that's the case. Let's hope. Please, please God. Qi Zhangfa stared intensely at the battle with startled eyes. He seemed hesitant and did not know what to do. Qi Feng shouted, "Father, they're all picking on martial brother. You must save him." At once she unsheathed her sword from her waist and rushed beside Di Yun, blocking the 2 sword attacks of Wu Ken and Feng Tan. And that's it. How's that, guys? What do you think? What do you think about the story so far? Are you into it? I'm into it. I'm excited to see what happens. Okay. Di Yun is growing on me. Okay. I think he's a pretty good protagonist so far. Yeah, he's kind of simple-minded, but he's righteous. He gave money to that beggar. It's fun so far. Cool. This story needs a concussion counter. Sunny side up, how's it going? You came too late to know what's going on? Ah, gotcha. Yeah, it seems pretty good so far. And it's gonna be pretty short, right? Remember, there were 12 chapters. So we should be finishing this pretty quick. It's not gonna take another 2 years, like the last one. He's got intense brain damage. All right. Let's get some sake, and we're out of here. Oh, finished. Hey. All right, guys. Cheer. Time for a new bottle. True. Yep, we got 12 chapters. So that's going to be 12 weeks. All right. 12 weeks and we're done. You think Chi Feng is making it out of this one without dying or becoming a terrorist? Okay, cool. Oh no, what if she dies? No, I don't think she dies. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it a night. Well, thanks for joining. Okay, I hope you guys stick with me for this story. I heard it's gonna be a good story. All right. Well, that's it. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.